All right, today we're going to show you how to do Batman. Um, Looking at our Adobe Illustrator here, it's open up. We're going to create new. Go to print on the tabs, untitled here. Go ahead and call it Batman. Change the points to inches so we understand what that is. So we got 8.5 by 11, looks good. Hit create. Now at this point right here, the first thing we want to do is put on our Batman graphic. To do that, go to File. We want to go to Place. You could also go out online, find a Batman thing, and go copy and paste it in. Batman's right there. We'll hit place, place. You can see it's oversized and big. Now, to shrink this down or to scale it down, just click on it. Go down to the corner. You can see you got my arrows going diagonally. Hit Shift. And now as I push and turn or push it in, you can see what happens is it proportionally scales it down. Oh, I'm a little high there. So let's move that down a little bit. That's about the right size. Next thing we want to do is come here over to the layer. Right here where there's an open space, click there, we're going to lock it. What we do not want to do is be tracing right on top of our object. So to do the trace, we're going to go ahead, go down to the bottom here and go down to create a new layer. Click on the layer. And instead of having it called layer 2, we're going to call it tracing layer. Red looks good. That's the color that we'll be tracing in. Now at this point, we're active on the blue layer. The other layer is locked. If we want to inspect our work, you can always come back to the layer, poke them in the eyeball here, and see what's you've been tracing and what's there and what's not. And you can always turn it back on. So right here on the tracing layer, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. So Control Plus. Again, Control Plus works really nice for what we're doing here. And I think I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. There, I think that's probably close enough. Again, you can zoom in to that pixel size if you want to, not really needed. And the ovals, I know that you guys can do the ovals here using the ellipse tool over here and shape it in. So I'm not going to focus on that today. I'm just going to focus on how do we trace and create Batman. So you can trace and go all the way around and trace all the way around and get lots of experience. Or you can trace half of Batman and then reflect over or mirror it over and do half the work. So let's look at that today as a part of our process. So pen tool, click on there. Come right here and say, okay, I'm right about there. I'm going to start right about halfway. I'm going to click on there, click over there, click up to the top. Now, coming in here, it's kind of hard to see the curve, so I'm going to Control Plus. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And you can see there's a slight curve in the ear. Click and drag just a little bit, just to give it a slight curve. Again, to turn the handle this way, hit the Alt key, and you can take and turn the handle. And now the line kind of comes down for you. You can see right here the fill command is on. Come back to properties and take that fill and turn it off. Come down here to stroke. The stroke for some reason shut off. We'll turn that on. And let's take a look. We're at 1 point. Let's take that down to 1/4 of a point. So our line is real thin. So now here, as we go down towards the bottom, we can click here. And as you can see right about there, we're pretty close. Again, as we're curving around, click and then drag in the direction you're moving, that affects the curve behind there. And again, up here, click and drag. You can, again, control that handle by lengthening it. The other thing you can do is you can just come back to the anchor point, click on there. You can see that handle disappeared, and now I can go keep going the direction I want. So it jumps me back to a straight line mode if you come back and click the anchor point. So I'm going to come down this way, and again, go through the process. Oh, somehow I moved that over there. Direct select. Select that. There we go. All right, so let's get back on to our pen tool. I'm going to go Control negative and zoom out just a little bit. Again, we're going to come right back on there, click on there, come down here, curve it just a little bit. Come down here, curve it some more. And again, you can put these anchor points anywhere you want. Zooming down here. They're close. Again, I got to come in here, Alt. Again, we can move that handle this way because we move the handle so we can adjust it some more. So come to the base of the curve. Again, we're going to go ahead and turn that. Click, get it close. Again, we want to move the handle, Alt. Grab the handle, turn it in the direction. There we go. And what turning it in a direction does is helps to shape that curve. Then coming down here, we're going to click and drag that a little bit. At this point, I'm done drawing. I don't want to go any further. I could do the whole thing, but at this point, we're done drawing. So I'm going to come up here and go to Direct Select because I want to come back here now and make some adjustments. So I'm going to go Control plus, zoom in a little bit, and now let's go ahead and work these curves a little bit. And click on here, and you can see it gives me those handles. So you can see as I adjust one handle, it adjusts the curve. So grab on that handle a little bit. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're very, very close. Click on this curve here. Oh, there we go. This one's kind of kinked. If I can get that, there we go. So again, we can kind of tuck that in and grab, kind of reform that a little bit. And I'm just working my way back around. Again, if you click the line, it gives you the handles for controlling that part of the line. If we're a little bit off, you can always, in this mode, bring and move the anchor in. And we can always come back to the pen tool and click and add in anchor points. I'm going to go ahead and shorten this up just a little bit on this side. I'm going to move it out a little bit on this side. So again, here's a good point. Let's put an anchor point there. So anchor, excuse me, pen tool, now anchor. And this will put a point in here wherever I want it. So I'll put one right there. Now, the advantage of that is now when we go back into the select tool, I can take and push that out and actually move the line in and control, those points. Here, I'm not quite sure where we are. I'm going to go ahead and Control plus. You can see that we're a little bit off on there. I'm going to go ahead and move that. Grab my anchor point, move it up. It looks like we have two different points here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete that little point there, and I'm going to take and move and drag that point to the other one and anchor them together. Down here, we got a little curve. So again, let's see here. Let's go ahead and add an anchor point in here. Let's go ahead and just kind of pull this back a little bit. Oh, I was still on anchor points. All right. So direct select, you see I can move this anchor point anywhere I want. I'm going to direct select. Let's see, we're just adjusting the curve. Get it close. Again, we're zoomed way in. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just want it to be fairly close to where we're at. There, we're pretty close to the ear. And right here, you can see we're actually a little high. So let's just grab and pull his anchors down a little bit. And let's pull that one down a little bit. Get that. If I hit shift, you remember shift? Shift will give us nice and straight. There we go. And then up here, let's just pull that anchor down and over, get that onto the ear. And move that handle in a little bit. There again, we can move this handle in. And you can see by just adjusting the handle a little bit, I can move this line out. It also affects the bottom. Close enough. All right, so at this point, we're good to go. We have half of Batman done. So Control Negative, we'll zoom out. Looking at our stroke, let's fill it up and let's go to 1 on the stroke. That was only on that selected area here. Let's go ahead and select our object. And we're going to do the whole thing at 1. So now it shows up real nice. Come back to Layer Command. We can shut off that initial layer. There's what we just drew. The next thing we want to do is go to Object, Transform, Reflect. Now you can see what it did is it reflected it over vertically right here. And then we're going to go ahead and tell it to copy it. And then what it did is it copied it. It's copied on top of the other one. What we need to do is take and move it out of the way or move it over. So right now it's kind of in a crazy spot. Again, looking at where we're at, we want to select this particular object here. And let's see here, is it going to give me, I want to try and move that. Edit, let's undo reflect. Let's try that again. Object, transform, reflect, copy it. And let's take that reflected one here. Actually, I'm thinking about that. We've got that there. Object, transform, reflect, copy. I just hit the cut button, cut that out. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit V for paste. The reason I'm doing that is now it's giving me that object. So let's go in and get that thing right on. I'm looking at the top line here. I'm looking at where we've got it there. So let's zoom in. We're close. The other thing is if we copied and we're able to drag it, I'm not sure why it won't let me move it very well. But if I hit shift when I'm moving, it'll actually shift and move it straight over. So we're close right now, but let's go in and zoom in and see how close we are. Right here, you can see that we're slightly out of alignment. I'm going to go ahead and select both of these. And let's go ahead and make this quarter. Make this one a quarter. And the reason we're making them small is to see where we're overlapping and where we're crooked. Same thing down here. Let's select. Because we want to join the points. Right now, the points are close, but they're not touching. They're not connected. So let's reconnect them. So again, what we want to do now is go to Direct Select. Click on there. We're going to take and drag that over just a hair. I'm going to zoom in. Now we're really close, but you can see they're not connected. So again, we're going to go ahead and join those together. I'm zoomed in, but I'm moving up the object here. Oh, let me zoom back out. Control negative. There we go. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to click here. Control plus, zoom in. And again, you can see we're close, but we're overlapped. So we're there and we're there. So let's go ahead And I got them both selected now, so I'm going to go ahead and move this one. Let's just move this down just a hair. Looks like it's nice and flat. All right, Control negative. There's Batman. Now, to join these together, again, select all of it. See how it goes. You're going to go Object, down here to the paths. Those are called paths, and tell to join. Let's see if we get something correct or it looks weird. Yeah, I was afraid of that. I've been getting a little things on here for some reason. I don't know why. I'm going to take that path there. Let's see if I hit that. Can I click on that and delete it? Oh, and there, delete it. There we go. So what we have now is this is joined as one object, and in this whole area we can fill that. Oh, I forgot to select it. Let's do that again. There we go. Fill. There's my Batman filled in. Going back into layers, and you can see right there it's lined up right where we want it. It's a little off, but it's close, and it looks just like Batman. There again, on and off. And the only thing you have to do now is do the oval coming around here. Remember up here, you can use pen tool, you can use the shape tool. Now, for what we're doing here, we want to use the pen tool because we need to go through and make this to be a vector line. So, there again, turn this into the pen tool. It was on the anchor tool. And we can go ahead and draw that in there. So, click again, and it's good practice. And you come around here and work on the curves. Work on the curves. And again, you can see right here, it's just filling it in on us. Again, we're getting a little sloppy here. And we can come back and adjust that. Again, the fill pattern is on over here. And we don't want to fill that, so we're going to go ahead and hit Properties and No Fill. So we can see that the lines around there. And again, the stroke on the line is really thin. We can make it 2, and you can see how close or how off we are. And again, down here, you can see that we're a little bit off. Oh, let's go Direct Select. That wasn't Direct Select. And there again, we can grab and slide anchor points down. We can go ahead and do some adjusting of this curve, like for instance right here. Grab the handle, and you can see what it does. It'll move it out. Grab that handle, move it up. And again, we can tweak and smooth that out. The other tool I mentioned earlier is we can go up here to the Shapes tool. And in the Shapes tool, we can go ahead and create curves or whatever we want. Right here underneath our tool here, you can see we can do ellipses. And there again, we can look over here, you can see we can do ellipses too. So we can lay that out and use an ellipse tool. That's our other option. And again, it's not perfect, but now we can click on there. Again, grab the handles, tuck it in, tuck it in. The nice part with this is the ellipse tool is going to actually kind of smooth it for us some. And again, we're just trying to get these lined up as close to being as symmetrical as possible. And you can see right here, we're going to shape that a little bit. We're just trying to tuck that in a little bit. The same thing up here. So click on the line, grab the handle. Again, the handles, I'm just taking and pushing them down just to pull in or constrain that curve a little bit. And again, you can tuck it in both directions. can see that affected the other side here, the other handle. But there we're using an ellipse tool to do the same effect. Again, we're all done. Looks good. Again, poke them in the eye, see where we're at. Now we've got these two surfaces, and you can see that they're not symmetrical quite at this point. We can go through the process though here and do some fills. Now, this one on the outside here was drawn last. This one was drawn before that. We want to have this area here, let's say for the yellow, and this was the black, and this band between here was black. So if I click on my outside object here, the one I just made, there we go. Go to properties and go to fill. It'll fill everything. Now, take that object and let's arrange it. Let's move it back. Send backward. Object. Range. Send to back. Okay. Okay. So that went all the way back. Well, that's pretty cool looking. Let's take that object and arrange and bring it forward. Bring to front. What we have to get here is this one in the middle. And let's go ahead, because that has no fill. If we make that white, there we've got our black and our white. And again, we come down here, copy it to the bottom, and then we do the inverted, where the white turns black and the black turns white. The red lines, remember, I just took the lines and made them big and thick so we could see them. There again, we can help eliminate some of that by taking that stroke. We could either turn the stroke black, or we could go no stroke. If you go no stroke, it kind of gives a thinner effect. It just simply removes that line. Same thing with the inside one. So the inside stroke there, we can go no stroke, and there's our object. And again, we used a couple different methods for doing the oval on the outside. So that's how we do Batman. And again, we would take this now, group it together. So edit. Excuse me. Oh, I got to go back and select it again. So let's select all of it, object, group it together. And we want to go edit copy, edit paste. Now it makes another one. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, control negative. Pick my new one, move it down. And then now we just change the colors. Now, the lines that I shut off on here are helpful when we do this process. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the lines back on. So for stroke, you can see what's happening here and saying, I don't know what to do. Remember, we grouped it together. Now I have to ungroup it. So ungroup. There. So that's ungrouped. Now I can click on the line there, change that, and let's make that red again. Let's make that red again. That already is red. Let's increase the stroke here a little bit, make it a little more visible. And on the outside one, go no stroke to red. And now we change the colors. So the background color in here, and we've got that. So we'll take the fill pattern. We're going to go black to white. Okay. Click on the inside one here. We'll go white to black. And we'll click on the inside one here, and we'll go black to white. And now we have our inverted black to white and white to black. So now it's just the opposite. On the outside here, you can see that we've got the paths out here. We want to leave that band in there. So let's take these two lines and turn them black. So I'm going to change the stroke color to black. And let's go ahead and create that just a little thicker. There we go. We see it a little better now. And then let's change that stroke color on the inside from red to black. And we look at it now, and the only thing we got left to change is the stroke color here in Batman. And let's change that to black as well. And let's go 2 points on that, make that just a little thicker. Now when we zoom in to this area here, Control plus, take a peek at it, looks close. Looks like we still have some nice smoothness on there. It looks perfect. And there again, there's our projects. I'm going to zoom out. The last thing that we're looking at doing is putting on here is Batman itself. So go to layers. We're going to take this Batman layer. Now, if you click on here, you can see that, oh, it should be there, but we can't see it. It's behind there. It's behind this Batman here, but we can take and just move them. So go select Batman up here and go file. Oops, excuse me. And let's go cut. Click down there and you can see he's there now, and paste. And now I'm just going to move him down. So there's our original copy, there's our negative, there's our positive, and then the last thing we do to our documents here is we go through and put our name on it. So again, we're going to zoom in. And again, once that's in there and it looks fine, remember you can select and you can just take and move it wherever you want. And that's how we do Batman. So little tricky getting the curves in. Once you get the hang of the tool, though, it works well. And again, we drew half of it. We reflected and flipped it in half, joined it back together. So we added, put those vertices back together, colored it in, and then we went through that process. And we went from a positive to a negative. And again, if I were going to make Batman stickers, let's say on the Flexo machine and needed a raised surface, here we go. If I need a screen print or something, here we go. So again, depending upon how we're going to print this. All right, so that's how we do the Batman stuff.